January 2026. The Arctic wind carries more than cold. It carries the urgency of a new era for Canada's north. Geopolitical pressure and foreign military activity have forced Ottawa into its largest Arctic military expansion since the Cold War. Billions are being poured into real infrastructure, deep-water ports, upgraded airfields, and advanced surveillance. The catalyst: Russian maneuvers, China's ambitions, and U.S. pressure. Canada is racing to secure its identity and future in a world of renewed great power rivalry. The turning point came from Washington. The Donroe Doctrine, a 21st century update to the Monroe Doctrine, declared the Arctic a non-negotiable U.S. security interest. The message was blunt: if Canada couldn't secure its north, the U.S. would. High-level meetings grew tense as American officials pressed Ottawa to modernize its defenses, especially against Russian and Chinese threats. The Donroe Doctrine ended decades of polite nudging, replacing it with a stark ultimatum. For Canada, the prospect of U.S. troops on its soil was politically unacceptable. Ottawa responded with a sweeping defense review, new funding, and accelerated Arctic projects. The doctrine gave political cover for massive spending, reframing Arctic defense as essential to sovereignty and the U.S. alliance. The Canada-U.S. defense relationship shifted from partnership to necessity. Canada's investments now a direct deliverable to Washington. The Donroe Doctrine forced Canada to treat Arctic sovereignty as a frontline security interest, not a theoretical concept. The result: a rapid, unprecedented military buildup in the north. Canada's sovereignty now depends on action, not assumption. The Arctic is no longer a diplomatic afterthought, it's a critical battleground for continental security. Canada's response is a sweeping overhaul of its northern defenses, centered on modernizing NORAD. The outdated North Warning System is being replaced by a multi-layered network of over-the-horizon radars and surveillance satellites. These new systems will detect threats like cruise missiles and hypersonic weapons far earlier than before. Billions are being invested in expanding and hardening northern airfields for F-35s, lengthening runways, and building resilient hangars. Naval power is growing too, with new Arctic patrol ships and a deep-water port at Nanisivik to extend Canada's reach into the Northwest Passage. This isn't just about hardware, it's about integrating AI, secure communications, and real-time data to create a seamless defense ecosystem. The plan includes training personnel to operate in the harsh Arctic, ensuring Canada's presence is both persistent and effective. The goal: a robust 21st-century fortress capable of deterring any threat. Canada is building not just bases, but a complete system of Arctic defense and deterrence. The stakes: nothing less than control of its northern destiny. Canada's urgency is driven by two adversaries, Russia and China. Russia has remilitarized its Arctic, reopening bases and deploying advanced weapons, making Canadian airspace a direct path for Russian bombers and missiles. Russian claims on Arctic resources clash with Canada's, and Moscow's willingness to use force elsewhere is a chilling warning. Meanwhile, China, calling itself a near-Arctic state, is investing in research, infrastructure, and resource projects across the region. Chinese companies seek to build dual-use facilities, raising concerns about future military operations. The Arctic is now a theater for both immediate military threats and long-term strategic encroachment. Canada must defend against Russian power and Chinese influence. Simultaneously, the two-front challenge has made Arctic defense an existential priority. Melting Arctic ice is redrawing the global map, opening new shipping routes and exposing vast resources. The Northwest Passage could soon rival the Suez Canal, but its legal status is hotly contested. Canada claims it, others call it international waters. Increased shipping brings risks, environmental disasters elicit activity, and direct challenges to sovereignty. The Arctic holds huge reserves of oil, gas, and rare earth minerals, resources critical to modern economies and technology. With China dominating global supply chains, secure access to Arctic minerals is a strategic priority for Canada, and the US, Russia, and China are already moving to exploit these resources, intensifying the competition. For Canada, developing the North means prosperity and leverage, but also higher stakes for defense. The melting ice is transforming the Arctic into a new arena of power and wealth. Canada isn't facing the Arctic challenge alone. It's deepening ties with NATO allies, Norway, Denmark, the UK, who are boosting their presence and joining joint exercises like Operation Nanook. Intelligence sharing is expanding, creating a clearer picture of Russian and Chinese activity. NATO now sees Arctic security as central to Euro-Atlantic stability, amplifying Canada's capabilities. At home, Canada relies on Indigenous partnerships, especially the Canadian Rangers, Inuit, First Nations, and Métis, who know the land better than any satellite. The government is expanding the Rangers' role and investing in northern communities, housing, healthcare, digital infrastructure. True sovereignty means empowering local populations, not just deploying troops. By consulting with Indigenous organizations and sharing economic benefits, Canada aims for a sustainable, inclusive Arctic presence. Defending the North is about people as much as patrols. Canada's strategy: unity at home, alliances abroad. Canada's Arctic buildup marks a historic shift. No longer sheltered by the US, it must now defend its own frontier. The era of symbolic sovereignty is over. Steel, satellites, and soldiers now define the North. Canada must balance military investment to satisfy the US while avoiding provocation with Russia and China. Deterrence, not escalation, is the goal, requiring both strength and diplomacy. The financial and social impacts will shape Canada for decades, especially in Indigenous communities. The Arctic is now central to Canada's security, economy, and identity. The challenge: ensure development is sustainable and respectful of traditional ways of life. Canada is stepping into a more assertive, responsible role in a region it long claimed but never fully controlled. By acting decisively, it's shaping the future of the Arctic as a stable, secure, and sovereign space. The North is no longer an afterthought, it's the front line of Canada's future.